How much do you know about the story of Ardnacrusha? I'm talking about the hydroelectric power station on the River Shannon in County Clare. It was constructed 100 years ago and was well ahead of its time, harnessing renewable energy to supply almost all of Ireland's electricity needs at the time. Not bad for a country that had only just achieved independence. Hello, I'm Meghann Scully and welcome to Energise, the show that looks at sustainability in all its forms and what we can do to shape a clean energy future.
What I love about the Ardnacrusha story is it's kind of it's a huge building, but it's a testament to what we can do, what we have done and what we could do, and if you roll the clock back 100 years, right, Ireland was very different, a very poor country. Of course, electricity wasn't anything substantial around the place, and most of our energy at that time actually came from things like peat, a natural resource. We used to import a bit of coal, so really reliant on fossil fuels, and the government at the time then just realised that, hey, you know what, we've got this wonderful natural resource in our rivers. Why don't we try and harness that, maybe capture some of that? And at the time, they looked around the world, and Siemens were doing interesting things with hydroelectricity, and the plan, it's a long story, but the plan to put a dam on the Shannon, in its day, produced almost 100% of Ireland's electricity needs, which is remarkable, and it was a huge, brave project.
This is Dr. Paul Deane. He's a senior lecturer in clean energy futures at University College Cork, and he's fascinated with the history of Ardnacrusha and the relevance it has today. A century ago, we were looking to a renewable energy source to replace fossil fuels and improve energy security and sustainability. And, well, here we are again.
The thing that's ironic now, if you roll the clock forward 100 years, right? We're kind of back now to being heavily reliant on fossil fuels. Ireland is still one of the most heavily fossil fuel reliant countries in Europe. About 80% of all the energy that we're using today to heat our homes, to drive our cars, our trucks, our electricity is fossil fuel, and it's imported. So often I think that echoes of the past about looking at our natural resources and moving away from fossil fuels are as relevant now as they were 100 years ago with Ardnacrusha.
It's clear that renewable energy is where Ireland's energy future lies. It's not going to come from hydroelectric power, but we have huge opportunities in wind and solar. But there's a catch.
The key to Ireland's energy future is all around us. It's in the wind that blows over this wonderful island. It's in our oceans. It's in our land. It's in our sunlight. And we know, part of the research that we do down in UCC, we kind of crunch the numbers on this kind of stuff, and we know there's enough there to meet our energy needs in a secure and affordable way, right? That's really good. And not just to power our appliances like our laptops and our gadgets and all our phones, but there's enough to power our cars and our trucks and our businesses and our farms and our firms and heat our homes, Now that sounds wonderful, but here's the catch, right? There's always a catch in these things. It's going to take time. It's going to take 20 or 30 years because we're starting from a point that's really far back. So we're starting from the point where we're one of the most fossil fuel reliant economies in Northwest Europe, where 80% of all the stuff that goes into our cars, our homes, our appliances is fossil fuel. So changing that takes time. But again, when you look back to Ardnacrusha, they knew it was going to take time. They knew this wasn't a short, sharp project. It was an idea that invested in a future.
There's no doubt that we need to speed up the transition to renewable energy. But Paul sees the spirit of what was achieved in Ardnacrusha all those years ago in so many of the renewable energy projects happening around the country. But he doesn't want to get excited because, as he says, he'd prefer energy to be boring and forgettable.
Really, you want the future of energy to be boring, right? Because you want people to forget about it, right? You want to get up in the morning and just not care about your electricity bill. You want to hop into a car, get into a box and it moves. You want your house to be warm. You want to forget about it, right? And the best policies are the ones that are invisible to people, that people forget about, right? If we rewind the clock back 10 years ago when, the ESB bill or the electricity bill came in the door, and some people mightn't have opened it, some people mightn't have looked at it. So you want to get energy to a stage where people forget about it.
So let's hope we can look forward to a future where energy is incredibly boring. Where we're not worrying about the price of heating our home being dictated by wars and global politics and the whims of world leaders. It's not going to happen overnight, and we're going to have to think big. But we've done it before, and there's no reason why we can't do it again. There's plenty more to this topic, so if you want all of Paul's insights and the full story of energy in Ireland, you'll have to listen to our accompanying podcast series, Energise, which is out now on all podcast players.